Good day, everyone, and welcome to our Kodiak webinar on evaluating revenue integrity for today's needs. My name is Matthew Lyon. I'll be serving as your producer on today's program, and I'd like to note a few items before we hand things over to the team. First, I want to encourage you that the best way to get the most out of the time you spend with us is to be sure and share questions and comments you have at any time during today's broadcast. The team is going to be monitoring those. We'll try to respond to some questions behind the scenes, but any questions that go unanswered today, we will hand over to the team so they can follow up with you outside of today's broadcast. Now, the most common question we do get is, how do I access the slides? So let's go ahead and address that one. You'll find a PDF copy of the slides waiting for you in the resources area, details on our presenters, and items connected to today's topic and upcoming events that we encourage you to check out during today's session. I'd also like to note that you can provide us with rapid feedback by clicking on the icons at the bottom of your console. But if you find these distracting at any time, you can simply click on the X to remove those from your individual console. Now, with those items behind us, we want to welcome all of you to our Kodiak Solution webinar on evaluating revenue integrity for today's needs. A quick disclaimer: the information provided herein is educational in nature and based on authorities that are subject to change. You should contact your Kodiak advisor regarding the application of the information provided in your specific facts and circumstances. Now, it is my pleasure to hand the session over to the first of our presenters, a director with Kodiak Solutions, Sheenal Patel. Sheenal, over to you.
Thank you, Matthew. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. We're excited to spend time discussing how organizations can elevate revenue integrity to meet today's needs. As rev cycles become more complex, it's increasingly important to identify risk earlier, strengthen processes, and use data-driven insights to support better outcomes. Today's presentation will be led by myself, Sheenal Patel, and Abigail Goman-Carbo. We'll walk through current challenges, introduce opportunities to improve visibility and performance, and share how Kodiak can support a more proactive revenue integrity strategy. Today, we're going to focus on three key objectives. First, we'll highlight the critical role of revenue integrity in proactively identifying and addressing revenue cycle risk, performance gaps, and opportunities for improvement. Second, we'll introduce Kodiak's upcoming Revenue Integrity Intelligence, or RII tool. We'll show how it can enhance visibility, generate actionable insights, and support stronger revenue integrity performance. And third, we'll showcase Kodiak's broader revenue integrity capabilities, including scalable analytics and customizable solutions designed to meet each organization's unique needs. By the end of this discussion, the goal is to give you a clear understanding of how Kodiak can strengthen revenue integrity through better insight, better tools, and more targeted support. Now that we've aligned on today's objectives, we'll frame the revenue integrity landscape and why it's so critical to proactive risk identification and performance improvement. Before diving in, I'll pass it to Matthew for our first polling question.
Happy to help out with this polling question as we ask our audience members, what type of revenue integrity foundation does your organization have today? Is it a dedicated revenue integrity department? Maybe you got a cross-functional committee or governance model approach. Maybe it's informal, it's distributed responsibility. There really isn't any formal structure in place, or no defined revenue integrity function at all. These are going to be interesting results from our audience members today, so we're looking forward to your input on each of the poll questions. Go ahead and be sure to select your represented option and then click on Submit. Those details are continuing to come through. We'll leave that poll question up, but we do want to continue on our journey today. So team, we'll hand it back over to you as we continue to collect that data in the background.
Great. Thanks, Matthew and Sheenal. Across the industry, according to the 2025 National Association of Healthcare Revenue Integrity, 75% of organizations have a standalone revenue integrity department, while the remaining 25% either operate through a revenue integrity committee, initiative, or have no formal revenue integrity department at all. What this tells us is that while most organizations recognize the importance of revenue integrity, many are still determining the best operating model to support it. And honestly, there's no single right answer. We've seen successful programs built as dedicated departments embedded within finance or patient financial services, or even supported through cross-functional governance structures. The differentiator is not necessarily where revenue integrity sits on the organizational chart. The differentiator is whether the organization has the people, processes, technology, and accountability needed to proactively identify and address revenue cycle risks. So if 3/4 of organizations have a dedicated revenue integrity department, the question becomes, what separates the high-performing revenue integrity programs from everyone else? While every organization structures revenue integrity differently, the most successful programs tend to share several common characteristics. First, their strategic alignment and leadership support. High-performing teams do not operate in isolation. Revenue integrity is recognized as a strategic priority with clear alignment to organizational goals and active support from executive and operational leadership. This visibility helps ensure issues are addressed proactively rather than reactively. Second is the strong functional coverage. These teams have ownership of key revenue integrity functions such as charge capture, charge reconciliation, charge description master maintenance, and revenue monitoring. More importantly, they use data to identify opportunities and drive consistency across departments. Third, they focus on performance monitoring and compliance. Rather than waiting for denials, audit findings, or reimbursement issues to surface, they continuously monitor performance, conduct targeted reviews, and use those findings to drive ongoing improvement. Compliance and financial performance are viewed as complementary goals rather than competing priorities. And finally, high-performing teams emphasize collaboration and technology. Revenue integrity touches clinical operations, finance, coding, compliance, patient access, and information systems. The most effective organizations foster strong cross-functional partnership and leverage automation, analytics, and dashboards to increase visibility and efficiency. When these four elements come together, revenue integrity evolves from a reactive function into a strategic driver of both financial performance and compliance. So our key takeaway here is high-performing revenue integrity teams don't just find problems. They create a framework that prevents revenue leakage, supports compliance, and enables continuous improvement across the organization. When many people hear the term revenue integrity, they immediately think about charge capture and coding. And while those are certainly core components, revenue integrity is much broader than just one single function. As shown here, revenue integrity sits at the center of the revenue cycle, connecting patient access, clinical documentation, charge capture, coding, billing, payment integrity, revenue optimization, and performance improvement. On the front end, activities like insurance verification, financial clearance, and eligibility accuracy help ensure the organization has the right information before services are delivered. As care is provided, clinical documentation and charge capture become critical. Documentation quality, medical necessity, charge capture completeness, workflow integrity, and reconciliation all determine whether services are accurately captured and supported. From there, coding, billing, and payment integrity help ensure those services are translated into compliant claims, clean claim performance, appropriate reimbursement, and then lastly, denial prevention. Revenue integrity serves as the bridge across these areas. It helps connect clinical operations with financial outcomes by ensuring services are documented, coded, charged, billed, and monitored appropriately. The reason this is so important is that many revenue leaks begin upstream. If documentation is incomplete, charges are missed, workflows are inconsistent, or payer requirements are not embedded into the process, the issue may not become visible until much later, often through a denial, payment variance, a write-off, or missed revenue opportunity completely. A strong revenue integrity function helps organizations identify those gaps earlier. Rather than waiting for issues to surface after financial impact, revenue integrity creates visibility, accountability, and proactive controls across the revenue cycle. Ultimately, the goal is to support accurate revenue, regulatory compliance, data integrity, financial performance, and operational excellence, all of which are reflected here as the outcomes revenue integrity helps ensure. As we think about revenue integrity as the connective function across the revenue cycle, the next question becomes, how are organizations using data to identify and prevent leakage before it impacts performance? With that, I'll pass it to Matthew for our second polling question.
Thank you very much. And this next question appearing on screen for our audience members asks, how does your organization currently use data to identify and prevent revenue leakage? Do you have a fully proactive, real-time analytics-driven preventative and monitoring system in place? Maybe it's somewhat proactive. You've got regular reporting, you've got informed, targeted improvement areas. Maybe it's mostly reactive. The data is used after issues and denials occur, or it is limited. There's no use of data for revenue integrity decisions at this time. Go ahead and select from one of these options. Let us know where you fall on this maturity curve. And as before, we'll continue on with our discussion, but we'll leave that poll question up in the background there so you can collect the data and see where your peers that are joining us on the program today fall on this particular one. But team, back over to you.
Thanks, Matthew. Up to this point, we've talked about revenue integrity as the bridge between clinical operations and financial performance. On the front end, organizations are focused on registration, authorization, insurance verification, financial clearance, and point of service processes. On the back end, teams are focused on claims, denials, payment posting, billing, collections, and AR follow-up. Revenue integrity sits in the middle and really across both sides because it influences how charges are created, captured, coded, and translated into reimbursement. That's why charge capture, CDM maintenance, documentation integrity, coding accuracy, compliance, and education are so important. These activities happen upstream, but they have a direct impact downstream. Now we're going to shift to revenue integrity intelligence, or RII, which helps operationalize that work. RII brings together data, benchmarking, KPIs, and service line and specialty analytics to help teams identify charge capture opportunities, prioritize where to focus, and take targeted action. The goal is to move from a retrospective review to proactive, data-driven improvement. As we've discussed, revenue integrity plays a critical role in connecting the clinical, operational, and financial sides of the organization. At its core, there are three key functions. First is strategic revenue optimization. Revenue integrity helps ensure the organization is capturing revenue accurately, completely, and compliantly. This is not just about finding missed charges after the fact. It's about creating the right processes, controls, and visibility to support stronger performance upfront. Revenue integrity serves as a bridge between clinical and finance. The care delivered by clinical teams has to be clearly documented, coded, charged, and billed in a way that accurately reflects the services provided. Revenue integrity helps connect those dots so clinical activity translates appropriately into financial outcomes. And third is revenue leakage prevention. By focusing on complete documentation, proper charge capture, CDM accuracy, workflow alignment, and system optimization, as Abigail said earlier, revenue integrity helps prevent avoidable revenue loss before it becomes a denial, write-off, or missed opportunity. Together, these functions make revenue integrity a proactive, data-driven operating discipline, one that uses visibility, analytics, cross-functional insight to support compliance, protect revenue, and strengthen overall financial performance. Data is what enables teams to see where gaps are occurring, prioritize the right opportunities, and intervene earlier. Revenue integrity intelligence is powered by one of Kodiak's strongest differentiators, the breadth of data and market visibility we can bring to revenue integrity. Rather than looking only at an organization's performance, RII allows teams to compare their results against broader market benchmarks. That means customers can see not just what is happening in their own revenue cycle, but how they are performing relative to peers, service lines, specialties, payers, and other market trends. That comparison is what turns data into insight. It helps identify where charge capture opportunities may be concentrated, where performance is below benchmark, and where revenue leakage or process variation may exist. From there, RII helps teams prioritize the areas with the greatest opportunity and take more targeted action, moving from isolated reporting to proactive, data-driven decision-making. The goal is to give customers earlier visibility, stronger benchmarking, and a clearer understanding of where they stand against the market so they can intervene sooner and improve revenue integrity performance. Revenue integrity needs to shift from identifying issues after financial impact to preventing those issues before they occur. Historically, teams have relied on manual audits, retrospective reviews, and fragmented visibility across workflows. That means leakage is discovered too late. After charges are missed, claims are denied, or rework is already required. With Kodiak's Revenue Integrity Intelligence tool, we can take a more proactive approach by leveraging the depth of data Kodiak has access to across claims, charges, denials, payer trends, service lines, specialties, and market benchmarks. We can help customers see how their performance compares not just internally, but against the broader market. This level of market analytics and insight is what makes RII meaningful. It allows us to identify outliers, emerging risks, and areas where the customer may be underperforming compared to peers. So instead of reacting to leakage, RII helps teams move upstream, detect risk earlier, prioritize high-impact interventions, and use real-time dashboards to support sustained performance and compliance. Revenue integrity intelligence is where revenue integrity insights become operational. RII helps teams identify charge capture opportunities by service line and specialty using benchmarking, KPI dashboards, and personalized analytics to surface where revenue leakage, outliers, or performance gaps may exist. By looking across service lines and specialties, teams can pinpoint where opportunities are concentrated and where action can have the greatest revenue impact. From there, RII helps teams measure and prioritize by quantifying the opportunity and linking it to financial impact. This allows organizations to move away from treating every issue the same and instead focus time and resources on the areas with the highest value. The benefit is that teams gain a clearer, more data-driven view of where to intervene. Instead of relying only on manual reviews or retrospective findings, RII gives revenue integrity teams earlier visibility into trends and helps them act before issues become larger or more systemic. Then teams can drive action through targeted workflows, whether that means a targeted charge capture review, CDM or pricing alignment, education, workflow intervention, or system optimization. Finally, RII supports monitoring and improvement through continuous KPI tracking and performance dashboards. This helps teams track whether interventions are working, sustain accountability, and show measurable improvement over time. Ultimately, RII helps organizations make revenue integrity part of daily operations, improving focus, reducing leakage, supporting better decision-making, and turning insight into targeted action and measurable revenue improvement. This tool helps organizations move from simply reviewing performance after the fact to using data proactively to identify where revenue may be leaking. The starting point is the KPI section. RII surfaces charge capture opportunities by looking at data across service lines and specialties. That level of detail matters because leakage often does not show up evenly across the organization. It may be concentrated in a specific department, specialty, provider group, or workflow. By breaking the data down in a more meaningful way, organizations can see patterns that may otherwise be hidden in broader reporting. From there, those KPIs translate into insights. For example, the data may point to undercapture of services, documentation gaps, charge capture workflow issues, or variation across providers and teams. These insights help revenue integrity teams better understand not that just that an opportunity exists, but where it is occurring and what may be driving it. The next step is action. Once the opportunity is identified, teams can focus their efforts more efficiently. That may include reviewing documentation, validating charge capture workflows, implementing EHR enhancements or automation, and providing focused education to the teams involved. The goal is to address the root cause, not just correct individual accounts after the fact. And then finally, we get to impact. By connecting KPIs to insights and then to targeted action, organizations can improve capture of services, increase net revenue, reduce reliance on retrospective audits, and build more consistent revenue integrity performance over time. So the key message here is that RII is not just about more data. It's about using the right data at the right level of detail to help organizations identify leakage, prioritize opportunities, take targeted action, and measure progress against peer and benchmark expectations to confirm whether those actions are closing the gap and sustaining improvement over time. Now that we've seen how RII turns KPIs into focused action and measurable improvement, Abigail will discuss how Kodiak's revenue integrity solutions can be customized to meet each organization's unique needs with the future in mind. But before we move forward, I'll turn it over to Matthew for our third polling question.
And this time around, the question is, what support would your revenue integrity department benefit from? Is it personalized data, trend identification, and proactive monitoring? Maybe you think it's department, clinical, service line specific focus with expert intervention. Maybe framework redesign, supplemental staffing is what you need. Or, rounding out our options here, fully managed functions with subject matter expert support. Go ahead and select from one of these four options. Let us know your answer on this particular question. We do want to continue on our journey today, so we'll leave that poll question up in the background. Thank you, everyone. Hopefully you found these details interesting from your peers on the session today, but we're going to go ahead and dive back in. So team, back over to you.
Thank you, Matthew. So far, we've talked about what proactive revenue integrity looks like and how revenue integrity intelligence helps organizations move from identifying opportunities to driving measurable results. The reality, however, is that every organization starts from a different place. Some organizations already have a strong revenue integrity team and simply need better visibility through analytics and benchmarking. Others have identified opportunities but need operational support to translate insights into action, and some are still building the foundational people, processes, and governance necessary to mature their revenue integrity program. As organizations continue to face increasing reimbursement pressures, staffing challenges, regulatory complexity, and demands for greater financial accountability, revenue integrity solutions must be flexible enough to evolve alongside those needs. In this section, we'll explore how organizations can leverage customizable, proactive solutions that not only address today's challenges, but also create a scalable foundation for the future. We've established that every organization is different, and Kodiak can meet those organizations right where they are with our customizable four-tiered support. The first solution is actionable intelligence. This solution is ideal for organizations that have a strong operational foundation but need better visibility into performance. Leverage Kodiak's revenue integrity intelligence that Sheenal talked about through personalized dashboards, real-time alerts, and trend identification. organizations gain access to meaningful revenue integrity metrics that help identify emerging risks and opportunities before they become a larger problem. Rather than relying on retrospective reports, leaders can proactively monitor performance, prioritize efforts, and make more informed decisions. However, insight alone doesn't always create improvement. Many organizations know where opportunities exist, but need help operationalizing those findings and driving sustainable change. That's where our second solution, targeted operational support, comes in. With this model, we pair analytics with revenue integrity expertise to help translate insights into action. We focus support where the greatest opportunity exists, whether that's a specific service line, department, clinic, or workflow. Our team works alongside your organization to identify root causes, develop targeted interventions, implement improvements, and measure results. The goal is to not identify revenue integrity leakage, but to create measurable operational and financial improvements that can be sustained over time. When these two solutions work together, organizations gain both the visibility to identify opportunities and the expertise to act on them. Simply put, better insights lead to smarter actions, stronger revenue integrity, and measurable results. But for some organizations, even targeted support isn't enough. As complexity grows, additional capacity, workflow redesign, and long-term operational ownership may be needed. Let's look at how support can scale to meet those evolving needs. Our third solution, extended operational support, is designed for organizations that need more than advisory support and are looking to expand their operational capacity. This model combines the benefits of analytics and targeted intervention with supplemental revenue integrity resources and framework redesign. We can help augment existing staffing models, provide subject matter expertise where gaps exist, and evaluate how roles, responsibilities, and governance are structured. The goal is to create a more efficient and effective operating model, one that improves reliability, accelerates issue resolution, and enables teams to focus their efforts where they deliver the greatest value. However, some organizations are looking for an even more comprehensive solution. They may be building a revenue integrity function from the ground up, restructuring an existing program, or seeking a long-term partner to manage and sustain revenue integrity operations. And that's where our fourth solution, outsourced revenue integrity management, comes into play. With this model, Kodiak provides the technology and deep subject matter expertise necessary to establish, enhance, and maintain a comprehensive revenue integrity program. We help organizations build the foundational operating model, establish governance and accountability structures, define priorities, and create sustainable monitoring and reporting processes. Rather than providing project-based support, this approach creates an ongoing revenue integrity capability that continuously evolves alongside the organizational needs. What you'll notice across our 4 tiers is a natural progression. We start with data and visibility, move into targeted action, expand into operational capacity and redesign, and ultimately provide a fully managed revenue integrity function. The right solution depends on where your organization is today and where you want to go tomorrow. Our objective is simple: provide the level of support necessary to strengthen revenue integrity, reduce revenue leakage, improve compliance, and create sustainable financial performance. When we partner with organizations, our focus is on strengthening the foundational elements that support long-term revenue integrity success. These are the capabilities that help prevent revenue leakage, improve compliance, and create accountability across the revenue cycle. Across the industry, we found that high-performing revenue integrity programs consistently excel in 5 key areas: staffing and organizational structure, clearly defined roles and responsibilities, communication and branding, monitor and reporting, and lastly, charge champion engagement. At Kodiak, we've helped organizations build these foundations by establishing clear ownership, defining governance structures, strengthening communication across stakeholders, and implementing meaningful monitoring and reporting processes. These foundational components create the framework necessary for sustainable success. Once the foundation is in place, organizations can focus on optimizing the operational functions that directly impact reimbursement and compliance. Those functions include CDM management, charge capture optimization, charge reconciliation, clinical documentation integrity, coding compliance, denial prevention, managed care alignment, and EMR optimization. We've also helped organizations strengthen their analytics and business intelligence capabilities, enhance education programs, develop policies and procedures, improve audit and monitoring activities, and implement targeted revenue leakage prevention strategies. The ultimate goal is to move beyond simply identifying issues and instead create a proactive revenue integrity program that continuously monitors performance, drives accountability, and supports measurable financial and operational improvement. So the question becomes, how can Kodiak help strengthen your organization's revenue integrity function? With that, I'll pass it to Matthew for final remarks.
Sheenal and Abigail, I want to take a moment and thank both of you for your insights today. We really appreciate that. For our audience members, as we begin winding things down today, there are a couple of quick notes. You still have a few seconds to download the slides if you haven't done so, or connect with the team on LinkedIn as well. We'll direct your attention to the resources area for both of that. You can also find about upcoming events, so be sure to sign up for those webinars and sessions if you haven't already. We will have a post-event evaluation as part of today's program, and if I could make a request, the team has worked hard on preparing for today's session, and they'd like to hear from you on how they did. The only way they're going to get that feedback is you take a moment there and share your thoughts on the survey. A recording of today's program will be made available to all registered participants, so if you need to take some of what you heard today and pass it along to your colleagues, we'll be sure to provide you with that in the days ahead. And at this time, I want to take a moment and thank all of you for investing the most precious of commodities, and that is your time. We hope you feel it was well spent with us, and we look forward to you joining us on an upcoming broadcast. Have a great day.